Recording live from count them, 3 locations.
This is Past the Rock.
I am Patrick, and as always, I am joined by 2 great men. Jacob, aka BETHKE.
Reporting for duty.
And Caesar, aka LCs.
I have not been bitten the head off any flying animals today.
Yeah.
Keyword is today.
Today, and I think that's probably a good place for us to start. Maybe the biggest news of yesterday?
Yeah.
Yesterday. We lost a legend and an icon.
And one of PETA's worst nightmares.
And one of PETA's worst nightmares. Rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne.
That's very true. R.I.P. to the Ozman, the founding father of metal in a weird way, a roundabout way. More of in like the icon and the imagery is more synonymous with Ozzy Osbourne. I think Tommy Iommi is probably more credited, then it's also like their drummer wrote all the songs, and so Black Sabbath as an entity is way more than Ozzy. But Ozzy's cultural impact is honestly one of the bigger things about him. Before we did all of that, I just wanted to selfishly say I've always had Ozzy as one of my 5 favorite vocalists. And that's not necessarily greatest of all time. I think my qualifications are more like, yes, range and stuff, but I do love the uniqueness in the way that emotions conveyed and I think that's kind of my qualifier. So like my 5, kind of just throwing him out.
Yeah, that's how you navigate Tom York into a top list.
That's true, and I'm sure if someone wanted to put Tom York, I know that lots of people would disagree, especially on him in particular. But
when he hits, he hits.
For me, my Ozzy is probably the most controversial. Maybe my 5th one, my kind of throw in here. But Sam Cooke, that's easy. Number 1, Sam Cooke, debate with a wall, bro. It's Sam Cooke. Like he's the godfather of soul. Like this is how Sam Cooke is a big deal. Rihanna, I've talked on and on. I think I've listened to Only Girl in the World over and over again, and it's not a song that should relate to me, but I think that's one of the best vocal performances I've ever heard.
I've probably said it before on this podcast, and I'll say it till I die. I think Love on the Brain is maybe a top 5 song released in my lifetime.
She's crazy, dude. She's crazy. Lane Staley, that's kind of a dark horse one. I just think that grunge was a weird era. I was born in the haze of that. So that's probably a lot of why I pick it. But I think Lane Staley just has a crazy, unique voice in a very like visceral genre. And he conveys emotion in a very interesting and unique way that even to grunge, I feel like you always know what an Alice in Chains song is, at least that version of them, very well. Ozzy, like I said, I think Ozzy just has one of the most unique voices. There's so many different things about Ozzy that, again, probably because I was raised in Waco where rock was like rock stations still heavily wanted to play the old heads. There was a lot of Ozzy in my life growing up with the metal heads around me. So I think that's probably why, but I've always found Ozzy's voice in particular to be so incredibly unique.
Yeah, and to that point, I think I mentioned it in one of our chats yesterday. I'm not the biggest metal guy in general, especially and specifically Black Sabbath doesn't do a ton for me. I think the hits are cool, but the first time I heard Changes and I heard Ozzy singing that song, and that one connected and spoke to me in a way where I had just you have the respect of knowing what they meant to the world and everyone else, but it gave me another personal boost of like, okay, yeah, I get it.
It's why I think he's great, right? Because I didn't just say, "Hey, Ozzy wrote all of Black Sabbath songs." He made all. No, he was more or less a frontman, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's why his vocals were so much more important because that he really was great at it. And I think replicating your sound over and over again is intensely hard. And Ozzy is difficult, even in the last show, to find really that crazy. As long as you allow the aging and the Parkinson's and the use. But like, it's crazy how much he can still sort of perform like 1969 Ozzy Osbourne, even to the last moments. Yeah, and then my final 5th one is Andre 3000. I just think he's a great voice. He can do both. I had to throw a hip hop artist on there. I know that's not one of the best vocalists.
Not Frank or Don Tolliver.
No, well, Don Toliver, no, for sure. I like Don
T-Pain.
Toliver, but I would never do that. And nobody who uses that much processing, I think. I think with Andre 3000, there's enough history of pre-process it bullshit.
Yeah, and I mean, some of these guys, they sing better than anything you'll ever hear on their tracks.
Yeah, and he flows between the both as well. Like, I think Frank does a good job of it, but I think I'm probably, again, just age-wise, more
That's
likely
fair.
to pick Andre. My 5 vocal tracks you should hear: Planet Caravan, which today I didn't even realize was a part of Ozzy's. I thought that was completely a different member of Black Sabbath. It doesn't sound like any other Black Sabbath song you've ever heard. I promise you that. It's very psychedelia. And it basically Ozzy's just kind of mumble singing into like a distorted speaker.
So you're saying he invented mumble rap.
There's a bit of it. Like, it's hard to really tell what the lyrics are, but it's just because of the way they intentionally made it seem like a psychedelia dream, right? Changes, like I think you mentioned earlier, that's really one of the better songs because
shout out to Big Mouth, I think, for introducing that song to a large percent of people in our generation.
Just
Charles
now
Bradley
learning
version.
that was on a Big Mouth episode, but that's
What's the
amazing.
intro? Also,
The intro to Big Mouth is Changes.
the
by
Charles
Black
Bradley
Sabbath.
version.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I mean, they're not that different.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
He's not using a mellotron, but
Yeah, okay, that just cracks me up. But yeah, so Changes I think is a big deal. War Pigs I think is important. Again, with Ozzy not having to do anything with the lyrics, he performs and delivers them
that
in
one's
a very
yeah.
like perfect way to fit what's actually going on in the song.
That's a precursor to Rage, if there ever was one.
Yeah, for sure. Sweet Leaf, again, he's not writing this, but he, like, you can tell how much they love smoking dope because of that song. And then solo Ozzy, Shot in the Dark. I think Shot in the Dark is a really kind of fun song.
Not the one with Post Malone.
Oh my God, yeah. Ozzy would definitely sign on for the bag, you know what I mean? And Sharon may have had a lot to do with that. We don't know. Before we get
Maybe
into
he's just a big postie.
Yeah, well, I think he just liked to show love to people and didn't really have a qualifier
if John
for it.
Lennon were still alive, he'd be doing bits like that too.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of artists that would. I mean, Paul has definitely done some weird ones.
I don't count his 4 or 5 seconds nonsense.
No,
Him
I don't
barely
think
playing a
that's-
guitar.
I don't think. I mean, he wrote the opening hook for the other Kanye song at that point, but I think Paul has also just kind of done goofy. I mean, honestly, I love Nas. Nas was on a fucking Justin Bieber album, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
So
shit
was
happens.
Ludacris. So was
But yeah, so I think really what people want to talk about Ozzy is the pop culture icon that he was.
Can I before we get to that give you something that was sent to me?
Yes.
I'm not sure where this was printed. I can't tell if it's a magazine or a newspaper, but it's Ozzy Osbourne's top 10 Beatles songs.
Oh, I did. I saw that. I think it was Rolling Stone.
Yeah, it is Rolling Stone. You're right. Number 10, The Long and Winding Road. Hilarious,
Yep.
as
He said
you'll note at some point
I read
when
this
our
earlier, yeah.
tapes release about our Beatles talk, probably my absolute least favorite song, and it's in his top 10. I get it.
Read the description though. That was why.
It reminds me of winter in England. It's cold. You've got fingerless gloves on, and it makes me sad because it was the end of the greatest movie I'd ever seen. You hear Paul going, "I'm out of steam. I can't do this anymore."
I feel you though. That's true. I honestly had never thought about that song as a breakup song to the Beatles until Ozzy said that, and then I was like, damn.
We'll
Ozzy's
run
really on
we'll
this
run
shit.
through a little bit of this here. 9, Strawberry Fields Forever makes sense. 8, Something. That also
Really
makes
funny.
sense. I feel like you might think Ozzy's into all the heavier songs, but just because he's not, he has another side to him besides being the Prince of
You might
Darkness or
argue
whatever.
that's truly who Ozzy is, and the Black Sabbath is more of a result of
Like
them
a
being
Kiss
friends
thing.
with Tommy Iommi and Easy.
7, Eleanor Rigby, which makes sense. Anyone who was recording music around that time, I can't imagine that wouldn't be the craziest thing you'd ever heard in your life to that point.
for sure.
Then you get some weird ones like Help. I guess it makes sense. I wouldn't pick Ozzy for a big pop head like that. Then Hey Jude, and then A Day in the Life, which goes back to just to being a recording artist at the time. I can't imagine.
And that's like usually people's number one pick for the Beatles.
Yeah.
pop song.
And then I Am the Walrus, number 3. And then the top 2 you would never have guessed unless you're already reading the rest of this list. Number 2 was I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Mm-hmm.
And number 1 is She Loves You. But that also is he was 14 when when he heard it. So,
And the way describe the read the thing he said for "She Loves You" because that one was good.
Should I do it in a crappy British accent?
if you want.
This is the one that sucked me in. It's like a really bad fake John with a little Paul in it.
Sounds like a German trying to think.
Yeah, okay. This is the one that sucked me in. I was a 14-year-old
go.
kid with this blue transistor radio. I heard she loves you, and it floored me. It was as if you knew all the colors in the world. Then someone shows you a brand new color, and you go, fucking hell, man.
So, Ozzy is definitely an interesting one.
I thought that was really fun, and something I was glad to have learned about him. And so
there's been plenty of great little Ozzy things here and there. I don't think I gathered as much of those because he's such a pop culture icon. I wanted to hit all the different worlds so we talked about music. We've covered music. We have not talked enough about all the other ways that he has become an icon. So I think for us, this is probably a big time where many people could have been first introduced to Ozzy through a beautiful, maybe even arguably Adam Sandler's best motion picture ever, Little Nicky.
What? What's that? What's with the ball? Ozzy? Holy shit. No.
All right, I had to edit it out for purposes.
For gore reasons.
We know what happens there.
Don't worry, I mark every video as not okay for kids.
That's very true. Very, very true. So, again, a movie star, but also sort of a movie critic in his own right.
Check it out. Those remind me of boobs.
Boobs, Ozzy?
These filmmakers are just boobs.
What do you mean, Dad?
Well, they're using the same joke as they did in the last Austin Powers movie.
What joke?
You know, joke about the long, smooth rocket that looks like some guy's Johnson.
It's beautiful.
That's the type of meta humor I can get behind.
Beautiful. I mean, you're also talking about a video game star.
Well, it's about fucking time.
Is that a Guitar Hero game?
So yeah, that's actually a funny one. I think it's done well by people who've played it, but it wasn't really like it kind of came and went. It's a game called Brutal Legend. It is starring Jack Black in sort of a Guitar Hero meets like God of War-ish like concept, where he's like an action, pack kicking machine, with a guitar and like you play notes to do things and stuff. I have not played the game, but I've heard good things about it from people who have played it.
This is a PS3 release from 2009.
Yeah, it's an older game for sure.
PS3?
I think that's the issue is it came out in a weird era, kind of also when we were kind of over Guitar Hero.
Yeah, it came out late. Rock Band had taken over Guitar Hero and it had actual like drums, which Guitar Hero later added, but too late also.
Exactly. So those are all great.
There were GameStops everywhere with
so you could
loose
say
guitars.
You could say there's also a way for sports fans to have known Ozzy very well.
Oh god, the Cubs thing.
All right, Chicago. I want to hear a real crazy crowd start singing with me. Are you ready? Are you ready? I can't hear you. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, and let's go out to the border. Let's go out to the river. Take me in, bring us into. I don't remember what I have to do. Run out of the strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
That was so bad.
He said years at one point. He said, I don't know what to do at one point.
Yeah, and it's the funny thing about him is because he developed the persona he developed, at any time you can be like, he may or may not be on drugs.
No, yeah, at that point, and I mean, we can talk about this more heavy later, but I think maybe the public diagnosis came later than the reality of the diagnosis in his case. I mean, when we think about Ozzy's signature move on stage, he grabs the mic, he sings what he's got to sing, and when he's not singing, he goes, that's Ozzy. Forever, ever, that was Ozzy's stage presence. And I think maybe that could have contributed to things, as much as the drugs are obviously a part of it. But we have to realize his real legacy on this earth is being not just the master of reality as the album, master of reality TV.
One of our 11 truck drivers got into an accident yesterday. We found out today.
You were stoned,
No.
drunk.
Getting a blowjob from a hooker while he's driving the
Oh,
car.
that'll do it.
And he was naked.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll fucking do it. Great.
So
That'll do it is the ultimate British response to that. That'll do it. That'll
That's the end
fucking
of
do
my show
it.
and tell presentations. Yeah, so I mean, other things about Ozzy, notorious for actually having a genetic disorder, condition, mutation, to having more of a protein that just like destroyed and broke down alcohol better and faster. Not that that was completely the reason for his longevity, but definitely would have aided. You talked about it pre-show a little bit. It was also hilariously adapted for the shitty Netflix movie for Motley Crue. But there was a bunch. He snorted a bunch of ants one time.
He snorted a line of ants.
And I honestly, that's probably the highlight of that Motley Crue movie. If you ever want to just watch it,
Doubt it.
yeah, I think it's a movie I enjoyed because I grew up with parents who were a little more obsessed with Motley Crue than I would have been probably at that age. But so I just knew a lot about Motley Crue or listened to a lot of Motley Crue. The movie's not good, but it's a movie.
My dad was too busy listening to the Alan Parsons Project. They Might Be Giants.
Well, I think your dad might have been right on some of those because Alan Parsons Project.
I don't know. I missed a lot of the some of the 80s metal / hair metal / all that.
Well, the good news is that it's quicker to get through than Alan Parsons Projects for sure. That one's easier to have instilled. The Motley Crue run is not hard to go through. Plenty of skippables. Parkinson's diagnosis for Ozzy came in 2020 officially, but who knows how long it happened. Of course, it's nice that he made it to the reunion show. I don't know if there's any other things at play, but I'm happy that they did that. It was incredible to see him perform like he was in a giant throne, obviously. But
yeah, I was gonna ask because I saw the video of them lifting up the chair, which looked really cheap. But I guess maybe they felt that was safer than doing it with the mechanical thing. I don't know. There's just one dude like behind him, like moving it the whole time.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask, did he ever get out of that chair? I guess not.
I don't think so. No.
Fair enough.
I think that he had no. I think that was it because even all the stuff that I'd seen, he was always seated.
Yeah, I know there was they've kind of been up and down where there were times where they almost kicked him out. Did they ever actually kick him out of the band years ago?
Oh yeah, so Sabbath. So Sabbath is like 69 to 79, and then they kick him out of the band for being a fuckboy. He goes on to name himself the Prince of Darkness and goes on to be one of the biggest selling artists of the 80s. Sabbath sort of fades from like popular like lens, but then basically becomes even bigger in creating like metal music and really defining metal music and the genre and like putting on other bands. So Rodney James Dio, I'm sure you've probably heard that name at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know Dio.
But Dio becomes the lead singer of Black Sabbath after him.
That makes sense.
For a little while. And then Dio eventually breaks that off to go and form a different thing. And then they got, I think, a third guy before eventually getting Dio back and then eventually getting Ozzy back, I think is how it goes. I think there might
Crazy
be
Train a solo song?
Yeah, Crazy Train
I didn't know that.
is 80s Ozzy. Yeah, 80s Ozzy had hella hits, dude.
That's potentially depending on how you want to define it, the most played song in this country for a long time now. That or We Will Rock You, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Crazy Train.
How many football games have Crazy Train before the kickoff,
Exactly.
And how many drum lines do the doo doo?
Yep.
Doo 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 doo.
You know, before I knew who that was, before who I knew Black Sabbath or Ozzy Osbourne, the dun 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 dun. I always associated that with Little John.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Does he use Crazy Train? And
He uses those drums or that opening line. I don't know what's the name of the song. If you want it, you can get it. Let's go.
Yeah, I remember now. Yeah. He basically just takes that song. Yeah. Because it's cool. That's funny. I never really thought about that.
Because that's some people like they'll never know crazy like that's Crazy Train.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, R.I.P. to the Oz man, and
yeah. I mean, I wish I had more to say about it. I know that it's a pivotal moment in American pop culture, but I've got not as much on it as some other people.
I just think it's fun. He's an interesting fella. I think it's fair for some people to be annoyed with his credit.
Did San Antonio ever forgive him?
What's the San Antonio thing?
He peed on the Alamo.
Right. Probably not, because that's like their whole identity. So
they probably did for PR to get people to hang out for a bit.
Well, but there's also probably a big Hispanic fan base trying to watch Ozzy come through town every now and again. So maybe
can't pass those bucks.
Maybe.
But we'll get into less sad news here, I guess. Obviously,
a completely different version of music.
Yes and no,
to some extent.
But yeah, we did get a mostly surprise Tyler the Creator album drop. He kind of told us on Friday, "Hey, this is coming out Monday." I believe was the sequence of events, which I'll take that all day over. My album comes out in 8 months, and then all of a sudden it's 2.5 years later, and I still don't have it.
Where's Detox at, Dre?
We don't want that.
No, we already got it technically.
But yeah, so we got "Don't Tap the Glass," which is I think a 28-minute. They're calling it an LP. It probably should be an EP, but
it's 100%.
whatever.
I think it is an LP. Yeah, I think it because it is more tracks than you would expect for that short of a. The tracks are meant to be mixed into dance.
Yes, yes,
mixes.
Absolutely. It does definitely flow like one long party mix.
Yeah, for the most part, I guess there is a lot of those Tyler the Creator moments where he kind of takes it away from that complete party vibe to me, but
the whole time the background or like the fades in and out of the dancey music isn't ever too long to take you out of it. I don't think.
Yeah, it's 1 or 2 songs mostly.
Because it's so short, I think I've listened to it 5 times already.
Oh wow!
Only listened to it twice.
I mean, most of my day at work, I can just be listening to something. So
no, that's very fair. I did it after going through a bunch of Ozzy stuff, so it was a weird transition, but I did enjoy it because it does sound a lot like what Tyler has already done and what Pharrell's already done, who I think is on most of the album, if not the whole thing. Big Poe, I think that's really funny. I don't know if I love that song a lot, but I think it's probably one of the funnier songs I've heard in a while. Sugar on My Tongue might be the most Pharrell song that's ever Pharrelled.
I think Happy hit that perfectly, but you're right. That as far as someone else's song, I think it's also.
Hold on. I'm gonna need you to pause right there. When you say his best song, are we talking commercially, or what do you mean by that?
No, I think with all due respect, and I know
it's an incredible song, man.
I know that people want to.
It's just if you're happy and you know how to clap your hands.
Exactly. That is why I think it's the best thing that motherfucker ever created, because it's so simple, but it's so effective.
It's perfect. It's almost a perfect song. Yeah.
It's like, I don't think people give Happy enough credit.
I think if you make a song that becomes a staple at every wedding, that's a bar that
and just out of nowhere, and it's like one of those songs that's so simple that you're like, how the fuck did no one make this for 50 years of popular recording music?
I want to go a little bit into Happy, because here's the thing. I remember when the song came out, and then when the song got big, because it did not happen instantaneously.
It was great marketing.
Did they put it in the kids' movie?
It was part of Despicable Me. I believe it was part of Despicable Me.
Great marketing.
So that song plays, and that movie goes, and then there's a little bit of a lull where, like, it's just associated with the movie. The lull happens, and then they push it out onto radio when radio is still kind of alive. This is right, like in between radio and the streaming era, and then it took off. It absolutely took off after that, but it wasn't an instant hit. I just want people to remember that because I remember that vividly.
Yeah.
And then we got Random Access Memories like not too long after, where he had his fingerprints all over.
And I think that's probably maybe another argument for some of his best work. But Sucker Free, I thought was an interesting song here because it had a little discourse started on the internet.
Wait, what?
Wait, what are you referring to? Talking about DJ Quick, Dr. Dre drama, old head drama?
Shit, sorry, one sec.
All right.
This might be loud.
Well, I was talking about old head drama because Sucker Free, I believe, starts with Tyler the Creator saying something about this is what you drive down PCH listening to the Pacific Coast Highway.
I got the lyrics right here, baby. I got this that East Side Hawthorne right down El Segundo to PCH shit. Put your top down, son, beaming for real.
Yeah, so that one's fun because the song definitely sounds like an homage to DJ Quick, whether he meant it or not. Eventually, someone said that on the internet. DJ Quick goes, or someone goes, people were noticing that. DJ Quick goes, or somebody said, DJ Quick is who people think Dr. Dre is. And then DJ Quick responded to this, and that part kind of went viral where DJ Quick was like, of course. This is no secret, I think, if you kind of dwell in this atmosphere. I just thought it was fun to see the discourse sowed again. Dr. Dre is not to completely take away or jump on the cancel train because Dr. Dre is kind of a shithead too. But DJ Quick is the sound. Like Quick, that's kind of fun because there's a lot of Quick is the sound if you listen to stuff. But anyway, DJ Quick is a hell of an artist. I think if you ever were to produce music, I would think DJ Quick has got to be one of those like influential people on your life if you're going to make great stuff. Lyrically, he was never going to make the mainstream because he loves to say things about like pussy farting and stuff like that. Like he's very vulgar. Like DJ Quick and the boy, and like they're always pretty freaking vulgar songs, but incredible instrumentals. Very LA, very, very of the sound, and definitely like Tyler describes, it's like driving up PCH with it. Maybe not in the modern world, because modern kids don't listen to that shit as much, but I'm sure back in
produced Shaq's Straight Plan featuring Peter Guns and DJ Quick.
Yeah, I would say Quick also. Yeah, Quick's hits are like they're there, but again, like a lot of times they're just super profane. So the top end of the pop, like they sound like pop hits, but they're so profane at a time where hip hop was really being judged hard for profanity. Which is funny. He did a Shaq one because Shaq wouldn't let people cuss. Ring, 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 I think, is another song on this album that if you had to describe Tyler, the Creator's like signature sound, I think that song is pretty much, that's it. I would just point to that song.
You mean his signature sound post Wolf?
Yeah, which I think at this point is the majority of the career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think really officially now it's past because you had Bastard whatever that first album you had Bastard his first album which his name is escaping me. Goblin, that's right, and then Wolf. And then there's that, and then I guess Cherry Bomb is that weird divide where it's like
Cherry Bomb's where you get the start of this.
You get the start of this next run.
And that's what 2015.
2015, yeah.
I would include Cherry Bomb because fucking Perfect Too Young is the sound. It's just that song didn't do well because lyrically, it was an interesting thing lyrically to pop that out as a pop song, which I think with different, again, like DJ Quick with different lyrics, that song probably is a number one hit in America.
I would say it goes a little bit before that one. I would say Tree Home 95 is what would end up being the evolutionary stamp change to that more softer sound where he's like a real focus on chord progressions and what we know what he does now. I think it started there,
layers,
and then you got a little bit more of it on. You got a little more of it on Cherry Bomb, and then Flower Boy was just there. You go.
I still think the overlining theme of his music is I'm going to say what I want to say kind of thing, or I'm going to say outlandish, shocking things sometimes. There's plenty of lyrics here that are both funny, maybe problematic if you're really uptight, and
I mean, yeah,
It's
then
hilarious.
you can't listen to you can't listen to any kind of popular hip hop if you're.
Yeah, but this one I definitely think it's because it's also
You got to
talking
go back
about,
to
like,
Lecrae and
he's celebrating his
DC Talk.
sexuality more in these lyrics.
Oh,
than just hip-hop,
absolutely.
right? So I think
Yeah.
that's obviously not going to sell well with portions of hip hop fans.
That's fine. He cuts a different. He's definitely a different market than a lot of the pure.
The old
pure
head market
hip-hop
is
guys.
being served so well right now. There's no reason to try to dip into it. You know what I mean?
Nope.
And he fits so much more into what's popular mainstream hip hop still.
So I guess my main or to last takeaway is I'm sure a couple times a year I'll run this through, but it's probably not going to be one I'm going to immediately search out. I still think "Call Me If You Get Lost" is the one that grabs me the most currently, but I don't think this is in any way bad.
For me, I would say I like this one better than Chromacopia. I think the runtime has something to do with it. I think that it's a little bit more upbeat, and it just feels like the start of another direction of Tyler's career, where he might just stop. I want to say stop being experimental with hip hop sound, but he might experiment with taking his version of hip hop into a more dance oriented, lane. Which I don't mind him trying to do that. For me, though, Igor is by far and away his best project.
That's fair.
Nice.
All right.
Call Me If You Get Lost, though. That one's good. That's real.
I don't think we don't have to get into that last bit. I think we've hit enough time here.
The music. What's the last bit?
The last bit. Yes, we're about to get aliens out of this, so don't worry. The Epstein thing is worth it. Nathan Fielder was right about Paramount Plus. Shout out to the boys for catching a bag and making mediocre South Park content for them. And then the whitest meme that's ever happened at a Coldplay concert, and I'm so happy that happened.
One of the reasons I don't want to talk about that is because Josh Johnson, who is getting his first week on Daily Show actually this week of being in the big boy chair, but he put out his weekly stand-up on that, and it's just too good, and there's no way I'd ever top it. So
beautiful. Then go watch that, people.
Yeah, it's great. If you've never seen Josh Johnson is maybe the funniest man in America, I would say right now.
Former NFL quarterback?
No. Daily Show correspondent and now part-time host. Killing just a couple more seconds here. The new Raekwon album's pretty cool. Check it out. If you're into old school hip hop, you will like that.
Supreme Clientele 2 coming out soon. Who knows?
This is Past the Rock.